provide all our alternative parameters, so we'll be able to forward this to Mahal. Micro landing in 3 minutes.
So I finally arrived at my little apartment that I have for the quarantine, and it's pretty small, but there's not much else you need. The kitchen with everything, so that's pretty much how I'm gonna live for the next 2 weeks. Good morning, guys. It's currently 7 in the morning. Actually, no, it's already 7:30, never mind. And I woke up at 6 and actually at 4 a.m. the first time because I went to sleep very early last night because I was so tired because I didn't sleep the whole journey. I'm currently having breakfast, which is basically just some leftover rice from last night's dinner and some apple juice that I got from the airport in Warsaw. And it's actually day 2 of my quarantine. It should be day 1, like it's the whole first day, but on the app it says it's kind of day 2 because I finished quarantine in 13 days, so it's kind of my second day but also my first day. And yeah, I'm just gonna explain you how everything worked when I arrived yesterday because I think last night I was just too tired. I just needed to get some sleep, so I'm just gonna explain you how everything worked, I guess. So basically I arrived at 8 a.m. Yesterday at Engine Airport, and I think it took me around 3 hours to get to my designated self-quarantine home, which I rented for a month in advance. And so basically when you arrive you have to fill out a health declaration form and a travel declaration form. I think the travel declaration form is just for them to check in which countries you have been prior to your arrival in Korea, and they usually check the health declaration form more because the first stop is the body temperature screening, where you have to present your health declaration form first, and they also check whose number you put in because you have to put a number in case you self-quarantine at home or at a place you stayed at on the form. And in my case it was the owner of this apartment complex, so they asked me who it is and what relation I am to him, just in case it's a friend or something. And they also not allowed you to put in your own number, and also no like foreign numbers, so international numbers I believe are not allowed. And they also manually check your temperature, your body temperature, and write it on the health declaration form. At least it was for me like that. So the next step was a bunch of paperwork. You have to fill out so many forms. So basically, usually when you arrive at Incheon airport, or like way before the pandemic, you just went through immigration. Like they checked your passport, everything, and if you had a visa, everything, and so on. And now you have to sit down. Like there's a long line of, I think, 4 stations, I believe. So first of all, they check your health declaration form, if everything is fine. If you have downloaded the self-quarantine app, which I recommend you if you travel in the Korean situation, you should download it before you come to Korea, because it will save you some time, and also the people that are waiting behind you. Because for me, it took so long because the people in front of me took so long, and they're also struggling if you do not speak Korean. The English is not the best, but also not like awful, but they're gonna have issues, like they're gonna have problems communicating with you. Also, if you're not prepared, they're gonna ask you a lot of questions. So in my case, the person in front of me didn't have a contact number that they can contact while the girl would be in quarantine, so it took some time for them to figure out what to do with her. And I believe while you're there, they're just gonna ask you, is this address you're gonna quarantine at? Again, who's the person we're contacting? And they just also set up your quarantine app, because you need to enter I think the officer's number that supervises your quarantine, in case you like violate any of the rules, like in case you go out, and he's kind of responsible for it, I believe. Don't help me accountable for that, I'm not quite sure how it works, but that's how I understood it. So then after you finish that, you have to go to another person and they check it again. So I guess it's like double check if the person prior who checked it did everything correct, and then you go to the next person, which is again actually calling the person whose number you put in. So they have phones there and they call the number that you put in, so please make sure the person whose number you put in actually picks up, because in a lot of cases we're just sitting there and the person on the phone was like either not available or it didn't know like why they called them. So in my case, I had to also put a friend's number in the form for some reason, because they wouldn't, I don't know why they would not only accept my the apartment's owner number, but then they also called my friend and asked him what relation I stand to him, and if everything is correct I put down on the form. So they asked if they can confirm the address and so on. So it was very, like, they're very strict, but they're also very organized. They just want to make sure everything is correct. So then in the next step, which is I think one of the last 2 steps before you go to baggage claim, so before you can even get your baggage, it's you have to fill out like another 4 forms or something, just your address, your name, your birth date, and so on. It's just a lot of paperwork. I don't know, I had to write down my address like 5 times. They also check your address if it's correct, because I think they checked my address and were like, do you maybe know the dong, which is like part of the address? Do you know the building name? Anything that is relevant for them in case they need to check. I also heard that they sometimes call the number if they can confirm that I'm still in quarantine, but I don't know, because I don't have a Korean phone number yet, so it's just what I heard from some people. And then you just kind of hand in the forms that you just filled out, and then you go to baggage claim, pick up your luggage, and then when you go out, usually there's like this arrival hall and you can go get some coffee, go to the convenience store, grab some stuff. but they send you straight to like your destination. So they ask you where you're going. Are you going to Seoul? Are you going to Busan? Are you going to Daegu? Or anywhere else? And they put a sticker on your clothing, so the people that are responsible for like the destinations where you're going to know where you're going. In my case, I took a taxi because I think it's more convenient. It's a bit more expensive, well, a bit. I paid like 80,000 won, which is, I have no idea about the current conversion rate, but I think it was about 60 euro, maybe 50, which is completely fine because I actually recommend you getting a taxi, especially if you have to go to the testing station first, because the taxi driver is so nice that he's driving you to the testing station first. You get a COVID-19 test and then he picks you up again, or like he waits in front of a parking lot and then drives you straight to your self-quarantine home, which was my case. I think he charged like 10,000 won extra because he said I think it takes around half an hour, and he would charge those like the time he has to wait. And I was like, that's completely fine, I understand. And they also at the airport they show you a list of a price list, so that you don't get scammed and the taxi drivers are already sitting there waiting for you or waiting for customers. So there's also a shuttle going to Seoul, I believe, and also the KDX, which has a designated area for people going outside of Seoul. So at the testing station itself, you basically write down your information, everything. I don't know how it is for people who do not speak Korean, but everything, like the form I filled out, everything was in Korean. So I was like, I'm not sure how they do it with people who do not speak Korean, or at least can read Korean, because they asked for my number, then I got a waiting ticket, because there were some people in front of me. So basically it's like a drive-through, so other Koreans could just walk in, have like their information and everything put down, and then they would just get tested and walk out. So it's not only for arrivals but just for regular citizens as well. And so I had my test done. It kind of hurt a bit because I've never been tested for COVID-19 before. So I got it done within like maybe 20 minutes. It was really not a long wait. And then I got driven to my self-quarantine home, which is this place, which I showed you before. And now I'm quarantined for 2 weeks. And yeah, actually if you tell them you arrived and are going to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, they give you a bag. In my case it was an orange bag, and they put in some stuff and they explain you to what it is. So in this case they gave me this cleanse cream. It's more like liquidish. And then also a hands clean gel, a hand sanitizing thing, which you can use. And they also give you a bunch of masks. So do not worry, in case you do not have a lot of masks with you, they're gonna give you some. And they're also gonna give you trash bags, which I'm currently using, so I cannot show you. But since you cannot get out and get those trash bags yourself, you're getting some trash bags from the government provided, because usually if you live in Korea you would get them at a convenience store, and you get a bag for general waste and then for food waste, because in Korea they separate the food waste from the general waste, so you get that. You also used to get a relief food package before, but I think they stopped it. I don't know if it's too expensive for them, but it would have been nice because they send you a huge package to your self-quarantine home address, so you do not need to worry about getting food in case you're a foreigner or in case you do not speak Korean. So that was very convenient. So you're probably wondering why I decided to move to the other side of the world, or in this case to Korea, in the middle of a pandemic. And the reason for it is because I am going to study I'm going to do my master's degree at Yonsei, which is Yonsei University, for 2 years. And I'm gonna do another video about the whole application process for Yonsei and just everything, how it works. So if you're curious about that, just let me know. And if you have any specific questions, you can just put them down in the comments. And yeah, I think I mentioned everything about the quarantine. If not, just let me know and I'll be glad to help you. So for now, I'm gonna try and get myself a prepaid SIM card and just document my quarantine life, I guess, because it's not that exciting, but I'll try to have a regular schedule and not just sleep all day. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was somehow informative, and yeah, see you in the next video, hopefully. Bye bye.